Alrighty, in this last video for Photoshop 101, the toolbar, we're going to go over all the last section we have here. So the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 elements of the toolbar. All of these are very quick sections. The first one we have is going to be the hand tool and rotate, which is going to be underneath your shapes tool. Hand tool has a hotkey of H, so you can click that or press H. And essentially what that does is it lets you just click and grab and drag your canvas around. So we'll hit Z, we'll zoom in a little bit, and then we'll click H for the hand tool, and you can see I can click and drag it around. I do not use this tool often at all. I just find it a whole lot easier to if I need to zoom or move around the canvas, I will just click on the little arrows, or not the arrows, but the bars here, the horizontal and vertical ones to move it, or I will use the zoom tool, which we'll show you next after the rotate tool. So the rotate tool hotkey of R, again, it's not something that I use in the type of designs that I make. If you're using like a tablet and you're drawing something, you know, being able to move your paper around can be very helpful for you. And essentially what that does is it allows you to literally just rotate your canvas to whatever angle you want it to be. So if you're on a tablet and you don't want it to be straight up and down without moving the tablet, you can move the paper. Not something that is used often for the types of designs that I do. The most common thing that I use is going to be the zoom tool. The zoom tool has a hotkey of Z, so pressing Z will open up the zoom tool. By default it's set to zoom in, so you click that and it'll zoom into whatever area of the canvas you want. If you want to zoom out, you can click the minus magnifying glass here up at the top to zoom out. Click that and it will zoom your canvas out. Or you can leave it set at the plus sign, and I prefer doing this method. Holding down the Alt key, it will automatically change it over. Then when you let go of the Alt key, it'll switch it back to what it's set to as default. So if I wanted to zoom in, I can click that and then hold down Alt, and I can zoom back out. It makes it a lot easier using the keyboard rather than going up here and clicking back and forth between these things. Resize to fit window, I leave unchecked. I think by default it's unchecked. Zoom all windows also unchecked by default, and then scrubby zoom by default is checked, I believe. If they're not, you can definitely set up the way that my settings are set up. I don't notice a difference clicking or unclicking any of these, so I just leave it set to what it is. And then these three things here, you've got fit screen, which is very common used, that I use quite a bit, and it literally will fit, you know, if I'm zoomed super far in, I can click on fit screen and it will zoom me back out so that my entire canvas is showing. That way I can see what I'm looking at the perfect size. And then fill screen, what we'll do is it's going to fill the entire canvas, the blank area, but it does cut off the top. If you use your scroll wheel on your mouse, it will allow you to go up and down, and then if you have a mouse with the capability of scrolling sideways, you can use that to scroll left and right, or you can again drag these, which is what I do most of the time when I'm in this situation. So fit screen is very, very useful. 100% will zoom it in, I suppose, 100%. So it's not, and I think you can continue to click that. But fit screen, and then clicking and then holding Alt to go back out. Very, very important things. Z used quite a bit for the zoom tool. Underneath that, you've got the edit toolbar. The edit toolbar I've done nothing with. I have not edited my basic toolbar from my install of Photoshop. I don't see a real need to. If there's tools that I'm not using, I suppose I could take those off of my toolbar, and you're more than welcome to do that. I just have left it as is. In order to use the edit toolbar, right click it and you'll get the little pop up here to the side, and then you can click that with a left click, and what you can do is you can just drag over tools you don't need. So say you don't use the artboard tool, you can drag it over to this side, and so on and so forth. So you can go down the list and pick all the tools you don't want to show up here on your left hand toolbar, and you can disable the shortcuts for those. So if you move it over here and you click disable shortcut, hotkey V is no longer going to ever be optional for opening up the artboard tool. And then you can, when you're done with that, you can click done, or save. Save this as a preset. So whenever you open up Photoshop, it'll save it. You can obviously click restore default, so it'll put everything back over to how the default is done. I haven't done anything as far as removing any tools. I don't see the point in it. If I'm not using it, I just don't click on it over here. And then eventually you'll find a potential need for anything over here, and then if you do find that, then you can just click on here to see the toolbar things that you've removed. Underneath that is going to be your color options. So the next thing is going to be this tiny little black and white square. By clicking that, it's going to set these two colors here, your black and your white foreground and background colors, back to the default of black and white. So if I click on the black foreground color here and I pick red, and we'll change it to a red, so now we've got red as our foreground color, so whatever shape we make or whatever font or text we put in or brush that we put in will now show up as red rather than black. We want it to go back to black faster than clicking this and dragging it down to one of the corners. You can simply just click the small black and white box and it will revert it back to your standard default colors. If you wanted to switch these colors, so say you're working predominantly with a couple of colors on your work, rather than clicking on foreground and setting it to white, you can just click these arrows and it's going to flip-flop those two things. So if you click the little arrow, it'll make white now your foreground color and black your background color. Underneath that, you've got edit in quick mask mode. I've never used this tool at all. I don't find it to be necessary. There are better ways to creating masks and then using those masks to alter or change certain layers. So I've never used this. I don't use this. Never clicked it. I can't really give you a massive explanation as to what this edit in quick mask does that would be worth it for the type of designs you're looking for, as like I said, there are better ways to add masks to your layers. And the last thing, which is not super important, I don't use it a whole lot, it really depends on the preference of how you like to work, but is the different screen modes you can do, and that's going to be hotkey F. So your standard screen mode is going to look similar to what you're seeing here, where it's going to have your entire Photoshop file bar here up at the top and your X in the corner and everything, and then you're going to be able to drag and resize Photoshop into like whatever, excuse me, I just clicked off of there, whatever size you want. So if you needed to or wanted to drag it or move it around, you can do that. I like to have mine just be this little full screen here. I like the accessibility of being able to use this bottom bar if I need to. If I need to go to Google or I need to do something else, I can click on it. So that's one option you have. That's the default. The next one would be by pressing the letter F hotkey. It'll make it a full screen, so it's going to eliminate that access to that bottom bar. It eliminates your X's, your minimize, and everything up here at the top. It just gives your entire screen the focus of Photoshop. And then the third one is going to be, if you hit F again, it's just going to show you your canvas with a black screen around it. And if you click on zoom and you drag your mouse left to right, it'll also zoom. That's something I didn't touch on the zoom tool, which is also pretty nice. But so those are your three. You've got a regular screen, you've got the full screen, and then you've got just your canvas. This mode here is completely pointless, I think. I don't think there's any reason to have just your canvas showing. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I guess maybe so you can just look at your work without any distractions from the exterior. But the standard mode here works the best, I think. So that is it completely for Photoshop 101, the toolbar. The next little section I'm going to go over, the next set of videos is going to go over the layers panel and all of the cool things that you can do in the layers panel and kind of what the layers panel is. So we look forward to those next set of videos.